Hello. Oh, I can hear myself this week.
Hello.
What a nice surprise.
Did you not hear yourself last week?
Not during the intro for some reason. I think I had the bed on too loud, but we're back. I can hear my voice and it's...
I just think it's really screwed up.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Shots fired at you, alright. How are we doing today, boys?
Yeah,
Amazing,
Good. Max is tired and a bit blind.
Yeah.
Lost his glasses. We'll get some new ones by next week, don't worry.
Hopefully.
Oh yeah, true actually.
Yeah.
You don't know how long it'll take.
No. How long did Meg's take?
Like a couple of days, week.
I was going to say, it wasn't that long, was it?
I think
Have
you should have
already
them
sent
by-
off for them?
No, I haven't had an eye
Wednesday.
test yet.
Oh dear.
That's an accurate summation of the problem at hand.
Have you? Can you like look online at glasses, or can you not see the screen? Do you have to get like that audio description so that it's there like?
He's not fully blind, man. He can see a computer.
I mean, I feel like I'll be better
How
off.
are you going to get to Specsavers? Can you see? Do you know what a bus is?
Yeah, well, it's funny because
I've got one of them blind people sticks.
I walked to work last night in the dark and it was quite an experience. No, I can't remember the last time I ventured out of the
husky,
house.
I think he needs like one of those
What,
dogs.
like a therapy animal?
No, he needs a guide dog.
No, I want that dog though.
Oh, definitely didn't hit the ceiling.
Oh,
It's okay.
I'm happy now.
We
I'm
will
really
be talking
happy.
about NFL today. We've almost run to the end of our intro.
Yeah, me and Colin have seen the games.
Yeah. He has a point.
I love it. I love it so much. I'm going to cut the intro. Today we've got a really interesting show
They're being
planned.
mean to me, aren't they?
Max is cuddling the dog. I can just see the dog next to the microphone. I'm going to take a photo and put it on Twitter later. Let me do that now. Say cheese. Brilliant. Make sure you're following us on Twitter to see that photo at NFLementary. Obviously, you can't see it because the camera's in the corner of the room. Thanks very much for tuning in. Like I said, super exciting show today. A lot of games to get through, a lot of exciting news, a lot of crying will probably take place on the show based on last Thursday night, where the Panthers might have lost and I might have stayed up until 4:30 watching the game, but you know.
I had. Oh, sorry. I actually,
Wait, why did you stay up that late? Surely it could have got to like 2 and you're
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah, I'm going to bed
Oh, I was
now.
I'm a
gonna say
loyal
this.
fan. I needed to see that McCaffrey garbage time touchdown.
Yeah.
It made me feel a bit better.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I have a lot to say. I have a lot to say about the Panthers, but I also have a lot to say about Thursday Night Football in general. I'm going to take some shots at the NFL, so how about that?
Oh, surprise, surprise. You never mentioned anything before.
Hey,
until
no,
now.
I've been thinking this for a while.
Oh,
This
I'm
just
sure he
confirmed
has.
it.
I'm sure he has.
Anyway, first segment of the show is, of course, our beloved...
Oh, dear.
Rewind.
I did the jingle last week. I don't know if you listened. If you haven't, check it out on our YouTube, NFLementary. We put most of the shows up, if not all. I try and put all of them up, but sometimes I just can't be bothered to edit. Max is doing the rewind this week. Are you ready?
I did it in about 30 seconds.
Well, you've got a minute, so
I
No,
don't.
as in, like, he wrote it in 30
I don't.
I'm proposing that we give Max a bonus point this week
In
based
fairness,
on the fact he's blind
This
and also
could take longer
tired.
than a minute. Didn't think about it that way.
I feel like we've abandoned the minute. I
Yeah,
won't lie.
we have fairly.
It's
Yeah.
kind of now like if you do it and it doesn't take forever, then fair play.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Right, you ready?
I think so.
I'll give you your bed. And
Okay.
I'll give you a 3-1. This is Max's chosen bed. Not bad, is it?
I love it.
Very funky.
I'm trying to think where I'd have heard this sort of thing before. Like a, you know, when you go to the seaside and you put your two
Yeah.
peas in machines.
Or like an instant shopping channel.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're selling
telly
tin
shopping.
openers.
Yeah. Okay.
Or like
Only
at the end of,
$6.99
like,
plus P&P.
you know those like trash daytime TV, like at the end of it, it's there like
Yeah.
when the credits are rolling, it's like, thank you for watching Homes Under the Hammer. Next up, Jeremy Kyle.
That sounds
Right.
like good television.
Ready? I'll give you a 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1, go.
So Big Ben stumps a big hole in Riverboat Ron's defense. That hole needs some patching, otherwise they might drown. But hey, at least not the Lions, who lost and still suck. But not as much as Cincinnati, who can now affectionately call Drew Brees their daddy. Speaking of daddies, Matt Ryan was in need of his to calm his crying and his dropping of F-bombs to the Falcons' loss to the Browns. Jalen Ramsey continues his streak of losing to quarterbacks he said sucked, though at least he can never lose to the worst of them all, since that dumpster fire plays on his own offense.
Hey.
The Chiefs put down the Cardinals. They may not be the dirty birds, but they certainly are the dead birds. And speaking of dead, I hope someone is watching the Jets players this week who put themselves on suicide watch following their decimation against the Bills. The Bucs put over 500 yards on offense and scored 3 points. Dirk Cotter is special, but then again so is Donald Trump. It is all perspective. It was sweet a victory in the long-awaited Mike Vrabel revenge game as the Titans continue to fool you into thinking they're good. You know who definitely isn't good, though? The Raiders. People call John Gruden Chucky, but I think the horror show is the one on the field. Some Dolphins drowned in Green Bay, and some Seahawks were mauled by the Rams, but at least they're not the Eagles, whose dynasty of 6 long months has come to a marvellous end. And I prepared nothing for the Giants because I thought they would lose.
Just gonna let that bed play.
I love that bed.
Wonderful.
I kind of want that to be my new alarm tone in the morning.
Yeah, it's quite like cheery. I feel like you'd pop out of bed, wouldn't you?
Yeah, plus I think you get to a certain point with your alarm that you need to change it up every so often because the more you hear it, the more you just don't want to listen to it.
Quacking duck, and if I mean, I could play it, but we might get done by Apple.
Yeah.
Because, they obviously listen to the show.
Yeah.
But it's got to the stage now where, obviously my body associates it with getting up. So, I'll accidentally click on it in the evenings and I'll be like, no, sleep. Right, what are we rating that out of 10?
Oh, that was good.
Yeah, do you know what? I preferred that to your last one, and I also preferred it to my ones. So, I'm happy to give it a 9. I think it's worthy. Do you know what? A 9.3.
Oh, thanks. Thank you.
Unlike Colin, I only deal with integers, so I'll give it a 9.
Do you know what? I appreciate that as someone who, enjoys numbers.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll average it out and go 9.15 then, yeah? Sound.
Okay.
That's still a decent score. That puts you in second. No, that puts you in first place.
I don't know, because
Well,
there is confusion, because as much as I wanted to give you a 10, I feel like in the end I didn't, because you said your next one would be better.
Yeah,
my next one will be better.
No, I tell you what, I think I did give you a 10, and I said I'd give you an 11 on the next one.
What?
Yeah.
That's just not how the rules work.
Well, well, you'll find out next week.
Make sure you tune in to hear an 11 out of 10.
Exactly.
Okay, so Mark's
he
in the lead
best
with...
actually bring his ukulele this
In that
time.
case, I'll give you 9.5.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, so you get 9.25.
9.2. Wow, okay, someone's not budging.
Importantly, it's higher than Column, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, I'm still on an 8, apparently. Did you listen to my one last week? Wow, the loyal... We don't even get views from our own presenters on the show anymore. How sad.
I listened to Thursday's show.
Yeah, we said the reason on air, didn't we? For those of you who weren't here on Thursday, Mark didn't show up, and we were quite worried about him until he sent a message saying, "I've just woken up. Do you still want me to come at 9:10?"
Yeah, and then I was like, I'll just stay and give moral support.
What if
from
we
the
said
backfield.
yes?
Yeah, what would you have done?
Sprant.
You would have sprant.
I would have sprant.
That's nice.
You are why. Of course, this is now the more controversial discussion-based segment of the show. If you have any views that you want to weigh in with, please do get in touch. The number to text or call. I've never had a call. If you do want to call, call. 07851 101313. That's 07851 101313. Alternatively, the easy route or route. So whenever I'm talking about American football, I say route instead of route, just because they call it route. Right? The easier route is ury.org.uk. There's a little box. Send us a message. Tell me I'm right and tell me the Panthers are good, please. I need the reassurance. So the first thing I want to talk about, going back to Thursday Night Football, that famous victory for the Steelers, the most points they've scored at Heinz Field, the tied for the most points the Panthers have ever conceded. Gulp. So there was a Bleacher Report article. I don't know if you guys saw it. I'll read the headline out to you now. Steelers expose Cam Newton and the Panthers as pretenders. I just want to get you guys' take on that. Are the Panthers pretenders? Were they exposed on... well, I mean, they were exposed on Thursday night. But were they exposed as pretenders on Thursday night?
Their defense was exposed for not being very good. I would say, on the whole, the parts that you expect their offense to be good at was. I thought Cam played all right. There was one moment when he threw that pick six, and I was like, "Oh, what are you doing? You're just adding fuel to the fire." But
TJ, what was on him though?
Other than that, to be fair, I thought Cam did what he could.
Yeah. The Steelers really locked him up.
And I think I read something that said that when he had time to throw, his throws were good.
Yeah, they were, to be fair.
Cam is currently the 6th or 7th top-ranked quarterback against the blitz, and the 6th or 7th from a clean pocket. So he's having a good year.
And I mean, you could argue, well, where was his running at? But he had no holes to run.
Yeah, this is the thing. So, I mean, obviously, as I always say, I'm no film analyst. But from what I could gather, the Steelers' game plan was basically, we're going to blitz the hell out and we're going to expose your O-line for not being great.
Which is fair.
And we're going to completely lock up Cam. So you saw on the first drive, every time the Panthers ran an option, read option play, which is where either the quarterback can run or the running back can run, for those of you who don't know. They went straight for Cam, and what that meant was McCaffrey was able to get massive chunks of yardage. So he had runs of like 7, 11, and 15 yards on that first drive. Equally, if you're playing up against the blitz, the two ways you counteract it are your run game, because if you can run away from the blitz, all of a sudden they have to start dedicating people to look after it, and also a quick up-tempo offense. When we did that quick up-tempo offense, guess what? We scored a touchdown. When we ran, guess what? We were super effective. The problem was our defense was so awful that we couldn't run, because while we were still in the game, we couldn't waste the time that it takes to run. And because we keep getting sacked, we can't do these quick passes that you do against the blitz. Cam had to wait for these longer routes to develop, or routes. There we go again. And he was just getting absolutely demolished. 5 sacks, something like 6 quarterback hits, 20 hurries or something crazy like that on 34 dropbacks. So he only had like 7 clean dropbacks in the whole game.
Vanessa, I said to you, like, if it was going to be a close game, it could easily come down to a quick pass. And what was their first drive? A 175-yard pass to Juju Smith-Schuster. So, like, it was just, and they were just doing that all the way through the game.
I think the Panthers' defense this year hasn't been good, and a lot of people are pointing fingers at Eric Washington, who's our new defensive coordinator. I actually think, in fairness, it's his first year in the job. We also have a brand new D-line coach, a brand new linebackers coach, and a brand new secondary coach. It's not really a recipe for success.
No.
All of those ideologies and kind of mentalities are going to take time to fuse and develop. So, you know what?
I think Luke Kuechly kind of covers up an awful lot of...
It's interesting you raise that point, yeah.
Yeah, I think that in most games he'll cover up an awful lot of holes in what the Panthers' defense is.
Historically, 100% agree with you. I think you were talking about this at some stage, maybe. Kuechly hasn't been up to... Kuechly has still been... probably the second best middle linebacker in the league this year, but that's not Kuechly's standard. Kuechly's standard is by far the best. Bobby Wagner's been playing a bit better than him, if I'm honest, which is hard for me to say. And just because Kuechly is playing at kind of an elite, not a generational level, if we want to throw these terms around, like you said, all those holes that he normally covers up, particularly in our run game, are being burst wide open. James Conner basically had his way with our defense last year, and our D-line is just old. And on that note, here is my attack of Thursday night football.
Here we go.
So you've got an old D-line, right? But even if we had a young D-line, we would have lost that game. I'll talk you through why. So Thursday night football unfairly and unduly favours the home team. So it's a short week, right? You have 4 days to recover if you play on a Sunday. One of those days is going to be a travel day. One of those days is surely going to be a rest day, which means you have 2 days essentially to game plan and to implement those things into practice. I know they're professional athletes. I know that we should expect as much of them. But if we look at the numbers, 80% of Thursday night football games this year have been won by the home teams. The only 2 games, that haven't been won by the home teams were the Eagles at the Giants, which, I mean, you can talk about a short distance. You can also talk about, the Giants are awful. And the Broncos at the Cardinals. And, I mean, like you said, the Cardinals are kind of the dead birds at this stage of the season. What do you think?
I think...
At this stage... I know it comes across as... I'm not making excuses. Panthers weren't up to scratch. I think even if we had a whole week, we would have lost to the Steelers because their game plan was just completely geared to destroy everything that makes us good. Fair play, Steelers. Like... This isn't like a salty cry for help. This is like a Thursday night football.
I think Thursday night football at this point is a detriment to health and to longevity. I mean, we've just had another ACL tear this weekend.
Cooper Kupp, we'll talk about that later.
Which sucks majorly because he's one of the most exciting young players in the league who may unfortunately miss out on his team winning the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah.
I think they need to get rid of Thursday night football. I think Monday's fine, but Thursday needs to go because the short week is unfair. Having said that, though, the Carolina Panthers have known since April that this game was a Thursday night game. They've known since the beginning of October that this is a team that is dangerous. And they've known that...
Only since the beginning of October, I think.
Steelers are awful in the first one.
No, but I mean, from before going into the season, you still would...
Well, that's true. And then... They know that their offensive line is bad. They know that their defense is not playing up to scratch.
Well, here's the thing as well. Everyone's been singing the praises of our O-line this season. Well, not everyone, most people. And in fairness to them, it is a patchwork O-line. We've got 3 starters out, I think. Well, if you count Norwell, who he lost free agency, Matt Khalil got injured, and as much as Matt Khalil was a bit of a turnstile last year, he's better than what we got at the moment. At least he can block. He gets completely beaten by speed rushers, but we lost Darrell Williams, but actually, in fairness, Taylor Moton's miles better than him and Matt Khalil. And we've been a lot of games without Trey Turler and Ryan Khalil as well. So we never really had a secure O-line. And what we've got instead is at left tackle, some randomer that we picked up off the street he played all right his first few games. But now there's tape on him, he's getting completely destroyed. Left guard, we've got Greg Van Roten, who I really like, but is an undrafted free agent, or was an undrafted free agent. At centre, we've got Ryan Khalil, who's allegedly a Pro Bowler, but we know what we think about the Pro Bowl, so I won't say anything more than that. Right guard, we've got Trey Turner, who's our best player on the O-line, probably. Great player. And at right tackle, we've got Taylor Moton, who I said, again, is probably our best player. But, well, no, he's our second best player. But throughout the first, 8 weeks of the season, the first 8 games, a lot of the O-line's deficiencies have been covered up either by Cam's scrambling ability or Cam's pocket presence. And I know Cam doesn't get a lot of love as a pocket passer, but in terms of his pocket presence, he's incredible, or the fact he can throw off sacks. So when you look at the stats at the end of a game and it says Chris Clark only allowed 2 pressures, he only allowed 2 pressures, but that's because by the time the guy got past him, Cam's on the other side of the field, so it doesn't count as a pressure. And then finally, what the Steelers did was probably just think, well, if we overwhelm this O-line, what the hell are they going to do about it? And McCaffrey, as much as I love him, he still needs to work on his pass blocking as well. So it meant that when we had these long running passing downs, we just couldn't hack it. And it went from 3rd and 15 to 4th and 24, punt, Steelers great field position, 7 points. The Steelers' only possession that they didn't score on while the starters were on the field was a kneel down at the end of the first half, which is just sad.
Also, McCaffrey's not like...
their way.
I feel that against lots of blitzes, something like a power back is quite good. Just have so he can block.
Interesting you mentioned that, because we have someone on the we had someone on the roster called CJ Anderson, who's a great pass blocker, as he showed at Denver and as he showed in the preseason. And for some reason, he saw like 4 snaps.
I think the other important thing is, as much as this says something about Carolina, I think it says a lot about Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I
like
don't
the game
think
plan, the execution, everything was just top notch.
The Steelers' defense showing up.
Exactly. If I was Carolina, I would not be too upset.
I mean, I am, but that's because
I'd wait to see
reactionary fan.
I'd wait to see how Carolina plays this week, and I'd wait to see how Pittsburgh plays this week. If Pittsburgh continue this way, then I think that's the way it was always going to be.
Yeah.
And if Carolina bounce back, then it's a blip.
Yeah.
And I think it will be a blip. I don't think this is like the beginning of a dissension or anything.
There's a part of me that hopes it is so that we can get rid of Ron Rivera, but
they won't.
Yeah,
he's Marvin Lewis for the NFC, unfortunately.
You see some people in like the comments, they're like,
Ron Rivera has the 3rd best record over the last 5 years as a head coach. The Panthers have made the playoffs in 4 of the last 5 years under Ron Rivera.
Shut up. It's Cam Newton. Anyway.
Yeah, but even then, what have they won?
Yeah, but the AFC...
NFC Championship, baby. Woo! 2015 was our year until we lost.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're in the AFC, you should be slightly scared of the Steelers at the moment.
Yeah, big time.
Well, given that they don't have Lev Bell, and yet they've now just gone, we don't actually need him, because James Conner seems to be doing what Lev Bell was doing and more, which I think is more... I'm not sure he's a better runner, but I think the system in Pittsburgh was designed for a runner and has improved. And so we can only imagine what Lev Bell would have done if he'd have been in this year.
James Conner's having a big year.
Rumour has it as well, Le'Veon Bell is not coming back.
Oh, yeah.
He will not report.
If any of you, of our listeners know as well, I'm super confused because I've read articles that say that if he doesn't report, then he's not eligible. And I've read articles that say if he does report, then he's still eligible for free agency based on the amount of seasons that he's already racked up.
Yeah, I think that's true. But I think what happens is if he doesn't show up by, say...
It's Tuesday, isn't it?
Tuesday?
Is it today?
Oh, yeah. It's the 13th.
Oh.
If he doesn't show up today, he earns $0 this year.
Yeah.
Out of what he should have earned, $15 million?
Yeah.
So he was losing like $1 million a week.
Yeah.
But if he didn't show up today, then he loses it all.
Okay. But he can still be...
I don't think he'll show up.
You wouldn't, would you? Like, he'd said to the Steelers, if you tag me, I will either retire or I'll never play for you again. And they tagged him. Like, I think it's a fair point, and I think, to be honest, it's worked out really well for him and for the Steelers, because without him not showing up, the Steelers wouldn't have discovered James Conner, who's going to be a hell of a lot cheaper, and is arguably just as effective. I mean, we will never know how good Le'Veon Bell would have been in the Steelers offense this year.
Yeah.
But James Conner's not doing a bad job. Is he second in scrimmage yards in the NFL after Todd Gurley? I think that's true. That's a great way to support your snap.
Yeah.
I think that's true. Le'Veon Bell next year signs with the Bucks, maybe. Just made
Probably
Max very
not.
excited.
Probably not.
Cardinals?
Because
Could
why?
happen. Cardinals, did you just say?
I don't know. They actually let
David
David
Johnson.
Johnson do something this week,
Yeah.
and they still lost. So.
We'll talk about that.
Who else could be good with them? Jets? Browns?
Oh
Browns?
Not go to the Browns. Not with Nick Chubb popping
Oh,
off as he is.
imagine-
no!
Nick
Do you know who
Chubb and-
Le'Veon Bell will go to? He'll go to Baltimore, not because he wants to play for Baltimore, but because he knows that will tick off everyone in Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
Oh,
that or Philadelphia, one of the two.
I think it could be Philly, to be fair. If
just
they
wouldn't
can
be
negotiate
fair.
the cap room.
I tell you what, Le'Veon Bell would look good in that uniform.
He'd look good in Panthers uniform.
Can the Rams have him? 1-2, Gurley, Bell, two best running backs in the league.
Can you afford anyone else?
In fairness, the Rams still have a hell of a lot of cap space.
Oh, I reckon the Saints will get him. They seem to be picking up literally everyone.
That would just be broke. If the Saints got him, their backfield was Kamara, Ingram, and Bell. You've just broken Madden, and that's it.
It's when Ingram's like your third back.
I know,
You're just
Ingram
like,
had a good game,
He did.
annoyingly, for your fantasy. Still beat you, though.
you absolutely destroyed me.
Smashed him.
Yeah.
Do you know what's funny is this was the 1 week Mark didn't start Baker Mayfield.
I dropped him.
Yeah. Who did you start instead, Mark?
Nick Mullins.
Nick Mullins! Why was he anywhere near your team?
Who is he playing?
The Giants.
Yeah, exactly. So the Giants are a bad team.
Yeah, but it's Nick Mullins, Bart.
San Fran had a good week last
Baker's
week.
just coming into his
Against
own.
Oakland. I had a good week against Oakland.
Yeah, and the Giants are just as bad. So I was like,
I don't know. Mullins had a really good game. Not statistically, but in terms of some of the throws he was
Those two
making
picks
really
were
good.
nice, yeah.
No.
one of them bounced out of his receiver's hands, and the other one was an unfortunate bounce, kind of off a defender.
These things
What an
happen.
unfortunate bounce from his hand to the other guy's hand.
But yeah, in summary, Thursday night football, get rid of it, NFL. That's our plea. Le'Veon Bell, go to Baltimore.
Make it a Friday night.
Friday night football.
Friday Night
No, but then
Lights.
that's high school, isn't it?
Oh,
And then
dear.
Saturday is college.
Can we have Saturday morning football?
We do already. College football college football kicks off at 12 o'clock.
Can we have it like 9 till 12?
But in America, that's 3 a.m., isn't it?
I don't know what will be here.
and,
but-
and especially if you're in California,
That
that's
would
just
still
unfair.
be Friday night football. The next thing I want to talk about is a topic close to Max's heart. I want to talk about Dirk Cotter. So for those of you who don't know, head coach of the Bucks, the Bucks offense so far this year has been popping off. Have you still got the best offense in the league? I think you've got the number one total offense. So in terms of yardage and things like that. Arguably due to the fact that your play caller has finally figured out how to make probably the best offense on paper in football, or one of at the very least, work together and fuse together with the wizardry of Fitzmagic at the helm.
Yeah.
This week, as you so eloquently stated in your rewind, over 500 yards of total offense, 3 points.
Yeah.
Who was doing the play calling? Dirk Cotter.
Do you know what? I was watching it and thinking, what the hell is going on? How? Because I think when you're watching it, you don't really have an appreciation for the yards that are getting racked up
Yeah.
until you see the stat. And you're like, how? How is that possible? I mean, there's many things that are possible. Firstly, any kicker that comes to Tampa is cursed. Just
Yeah.
does. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Was this the game where it hit the post 4 times?
No, that was the Bears game.
Okay.
But Cantanzaro did
watching
miss.
that, I was like,
He missed, 2 field goals?
Yeah, look, I don't know why he would look at what Todd Monken's been doing and think, I could do better. Because the only reason the primary reason he has a head coaching job is because, you make Jameis better, so we'll promote you. Well, Jameis ain't there no more. And he's just come out and said yesterday that Ryan Fitzpatrick remains our starter against the New York Giants. So it's got nothing to do with ushering Winston back in.
Yeah.
Fitzpatrick still put over 400 passing yards.
Yeah, 400.
Peyton Barber ran for over 60 yards, but barely over 10 carries. So the individual players are there still. It's just the scheming is awful. It's boring. It's tired. It's predictable. The Redskins have a fairly good defense for most weeks. The defense has shown up and played well. I don't understand.
I don't get how you can not score in the end zone. Like, your 3 receivers, they're so good that you can almost back them in.
OJ Howard is becoming one of the preeminent red zone threats in the NFL. Mike Evans is probably one of the NFL's best kind of 50-50 ball specialists. Deshaun Jackson, again, is more of a deep threat, but can still has a presence in the end zone. Adam Humphries has been shown he's a slippery kind of eel in the end zone. Chris Godwin is still amazing. You've still got a decent run game with Peyton Barber. Your O-line could give you a good push at the very least with your centre and your guard. Is Ryan Jensen still injured, or is he?
To be honest, I don't know. I didn't care.
Still though, like, it's not like your O-line is catastrophic.
No, it's better than it was.
It comes down to the play calling, I think. In the red zone, play calling is so important. And if how many red zone trips did you have and get 3 points?
I'm at this point now, though, where I'm thinking, like, what does it take? Because I don't like Jason Litch as a general manager. I don't think he's ever made that many good decisions. In terms of head coach, we haven't had a good head coach since Tony Dungy. Because Gruden came in for the year, won the Super Bowl, and then it went into decline. And then we get Raheem Morris, who I think had more losing seasons than winning seasons. We then pick up Greg Schiano, high school coach, bring him to the NFL, and look where he is. He's back in the lower leagues.
That was always going to work.
Yeah. Then we get Lovie Smith, and I'm like, great, okay. Kind of same ilk as Tony Dungy, defensive guru sort of guy. Get rid of him after 2 years. He didn't even want to draft Jameis Winston. Dirk Cotter did. I don't know if that means he wanted Mariota. I don't care. But the point is I'm sick of this cycle. And the thing is we're going to have to start again next year. Because if they justify giving him another year on a damn job, I give up. I don't know what more you can do.
Do you know who won't be your head coach, though? Hugh Jackson.
Did you see Hugh Jackson's gone to the Bengals?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
To make them more mediocre.
Hey, in fairness, when Hugh Jackson
just perfectly summarised that situation.
When Hugh Jackson was there as offensive coordinator, they played all right.
All right.
Yeah.
I think that sums up the Bengals. They played all right.
Yeah, I don't really know. You have issues in the red zone. You have issues with your coach. You have issues with your quarterback. I think it's time to probably just start again. You have the pieces for a franchise quarterback. Like, you really do. Whenever we talk about franchise quarterbacks recently, it seems to be like, oh, you've got to surround them with talent, blah, blah, blah. There is talent there to be surrounded with. Like, look at the Rams, Goff. Look at the Bears, Trubisky. Look at the Panthers this year actually doing something to try and help Cam. When you surround a franchise quarterback with talent, the franchise quarterback
Here's the only thing, though, that worries me is we have young talent now that will expire.
Yeah.
So we need a quarterback now, which means we need to find someone that is in the league now.
Teddy Bridgewater.
I'm looking at a couple of guys and I'm thinking, okay, they may not have had the most stellar of the last couple of years, but Bridgewater is one of those guys. I'm looking at Derek Carr and I'm saying he ain't bad. He's just in a system.
Things have got bad in the.
Derek Carr is a system quarterback and a half.
I don't think he is, because if he's a system quarterback, then that means he was a system quarterback to Jack Del Rio. No one's a system quarterback to Jack Del Rio. And Jack Del Rio had good years in Jacksonville with David Garrard, who was all right. I'm just saying that we need someone.
Would you trade for Derek Carr?
No, I'm not saying. I would rather trade.
Do you really reckon Gruden's going to get rid of his little boy? Like,
yeah, Gruden can get rid of anyone.
I can tell you now, if Tampa Bay went to Oakland and said, you can have Jameis if we have Derek Carr, he would take it in a heartbeat. I'm telling you that now. I'm not surprised that he's alluded to the fact that he wants to get rid of him, because he wants to get rid of everyone else.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's a smart move to try and... Well, he's going to have to wait, because there's no one to draft. Same situation with Tampa.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it would be a smarter move to trade now. I'm not saying we would be better with Derek Carr, but from what I've seen across their careers, Derek Carr's better.
I know Fitzpatrick's obviously not a long-term solution, but, can you win now with Fitzpatrick?
No, because Ryan Fitzpatrick is Ryan Fitzpatrick, and he'll have great games. And to be fair, he's had, 400-yard games this season?
Yeah,
he's not even started all 10 games.
Yeah.
But he's Ryan Fitzpatrick. You can't win with him. Because if you could, Houston would have done. Buffalo would have done.
He's not got the legacy, has he?
Well, he'll probably go down in history as like the second best quarterback.
One of the best journeymen. Speaking of journeymen, Josh McCown.
Wow.
You are why. Sorry, I cut you off there. I don't know if
That's
you were going to
fine.
say something about Josh McCown.
No.
There's not really much to say, is there?
No.
I did see a funny tweet where it was like, because obviously Jets Bills was Matt Barkley versus Josh McCown. And someone just tweeted Matt Barkley versus Josh McCown, and then someone quote tweeted it and said, "Could you get any further away from the Battle of the Goats we saw last week?"
True. Although
I say no, that was the Battle of the Goats.
I kind of rate Matt Barkley.
I don't, mate.
He did
No,
all right.
I think
he's better than the other quarterbacks.
I was
Buffalo
gonna
have
say-
had.
Have you seen Buffalo have released Nathan Peterman?
Oh.
What am I gonna do? I have no one else to hate on as much as I could hate on Peterman.
Maybe the Bucks will pick him up.
That would make my year.
The Bucks have named their new starting quarterback.
Hey, I reckon there's something there with Peterman. Go on. If I was you, I'd get on the phone to Jason Licht. I'd say, look, mate, Peterman's on the market. Get him quick. Get him on waivers while you can. Rookie deal. Couple more years in him.
You could
Franchise
probably buy him
quarterback.
for like £1 a week.
I need to squeeze this dog more. Make me feel good.
For just £7 a month, you can get Nathan Peterman as your
You can
starting
sponsor Nathan
quarterback.
Peterman for £2 a week.
Nathan Peterman's going to be a high school coach, I reckon.
Nathan Peterman's going to be doing taxes in a couple of years if he's smart enough to do that.
He's just got funny ears, doesn't he?
Someone will
Bless
probably
him.
intercept his emails.
Here's something I really want to talk about. The Indianapolis Colts.
I want to talk about this.
I think I saw a tweet and it said the Colts have gone from the best 1-5 team in football to the best 4-5 team in football, and I couldn't agree with the tweet more if I tried. I can't believe they're 4-5 because Andrew Luck has been playing lights out this year. Really enjoyed watching him play. It's weird because obviously I'm a Panthers fan, so I watch Panthers games, and then when I have free time on my hands and I want to watch a game in 40 on my Game Pass, I seem to be tending towards the Colts. I've watched 2 or 3 of their games now just because I really enjoy watching Andrew Luck play. And I really, they've got the run game. Marlon Mack's having a year. Naheem Hines has proven himself to be a great kind of third down back. The defense is inconsistent, but can show up. Malik Hooker, Darius Leonard. Is Willie Sheard still there? I think he is. But yeah, like you said, really young, exciting defense, really young, exciting offense. I love Quentin Nelson. I love Quentin Nelson.
Did you see
the video? Yeah.
that block?
But do you know what the best thing is? There's a video, right, of Quentin Nelson, and he's running. He does a pull block and runs downfield, and he's mic'd up so you can hear him screaming. And as he runs into the play, he's like, ah, and like clobbers him. And then the best thing is, later in the game, they did a play action, and one of the main things that sold the play action was Quentin Nelson ran and screamed again. So the defense thought Quentin Nelson was going to throw a monster run block, so they all moved towards Nelson, and then it's a play action, and there's someone just wide open just because Quentin Nelson screamed. And O-liner is having a massive impact on the game. Quentin Nelson is my vote for MVP and Rookie of the Year, and everything. Offensive Player of the Year. Give it to Nelson, man. I love the guy.
I think that was my favourite play of the year, and it
I love
wasn't even
Quentin
a play.
Nelson so much, man.
It was so good. I love Andrew Luck. I've tried to say this before. I remember when we were doing our quarterback rankings. I tried to say
Hey, I hold my hands
Andrew
up.
Luck
I was
is
wrong.
a top 10 quarterback.
I was wrong.
And to be fair, I'll say it. I think he's having his best year in terms of the fact that he's not turning the ball over near as much as he used to.
And he's not injured.
And his arm strength isn't there. His arm strength is not what it used to be. It will get there, but he needs to... I mean,
Just keep
hell,
playing,
he only started throwing a ball, 12 weeks ago? We're 10 weeks into the season. It's crazy.
He didn't really have a preseason, did he?
No. Yes, the arms are bent.
That's Max's glasses that we're talking about. Mark is now trying them on.
Yeah,
I
nice.
just realised you can't put them on over headphones.
Yeah. But I think as he's improving, the team is improving.
Yeah, big time.
And I
The
think you're
receiving
right.
core is decent. Ebron is having a career year. 3 touchdowns, including a rushing touchdown. 2 receiving touchdowns.
Like you say, 4-5. I'm looking at the Chargers at 7-2. They're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then I'm looking at the rest of the field. Tennessee are 5-4. They're doomed for failure because it's Tennessee. And then you have...
I'll give you the list. So currently we have the Chiefs, obviously, at
9-1.
Number 1 at 9-1. Yep. Chargers 7-2, probably going to get a wild card. The Steelers, the Patriots, and the Texans are all leading their division. I can see that staying as it is. Texans maybe a bit more questionable. Then the teams in the wild cards race. Currently, the Bengals hold the 6th spot. Then we have the Titans at 5-4, the Dolphins at 5-4, the Ravens at 4-5, and the Colts at 4-5. Out of those 5 teams, I'm all in on the Colts. The Bengals are going to fall off. The Titans are probably going to fall off. The Dolphins are just the Dolphins. They've had a really easy schedule so far.
And they are falling off anyway.
Yeah. The Ravens, I don't think have shown necessarily. I think it comes down to the Ravens or the Colts. And for me, if it was a toss-up between the two teams, I'd pick the Colts all day.
The Browns are on their comeback. They can do it.
The Colts have quite an easy schedule coming up.
But
for the
no,
rest of the season
I
as
do
well.
agree that I think the Colts should, out of the teams that are left, they should be the one to make it.
Yeah.
See, I would still trust Baltimore more because I think they have more explosion now. But I don't know if Indianapolis are kind of playing right now as if like there's no expectation on us because we weren't supposed to be good. Andrew Luck shouldn't have been playing at this point. It should still be Brissett. And I hope they make the playoffs. I really do. Every year Andrew Luck has played for the Colts, they've always had every year he's played a full season, they've always had at least an 8-8 record.
Which is impressive on that team.
Given what he's had to work with. I love Andrew Luck. I think even if the Colts get into the playoffs, they're going to lose in the first round. I don't think amongst those teams they are ready or able to beat them.
I think maybe they could have like one game and win, but I don't think they're consistent enough to go bang, bang, bang.
No.
Let's face it, they're not going to win the division and go through to the divisional round without having to play the wild card. So,
no. But suddenly they're an attractive team for free agents too.
Yeah. Also a good point. Big up the Colts. We love you guys. And especially Quentin Nelson.
Yeah.
Just keep balling, man.
The best thing is he looks like he's 5.
Yeah.
So when he's like...
Can I also just say, I think I announced this on the show last week. I picked my college team, Notre Dame.
Because Quentin Nelson came
name me one of the most notable alumni drafted last year. Oh, Quentin Nelson. What a coincidence. Great player. Great college. I won't lie. I'm not as into my college football as I should be, but we're going to get there. I'm going to force myself into it. Next thing I want to talk about is briefly just mention Titans Patriots, and can someone tell me what the hell happened?
Yeah, the Patriots decided, we got to 7. I can't be arsed this week.
There's a lot of stuff going around where it's like, this is the end, Patriots, the
It's
Patriots.
always the end when they lose. And then what do? They go on a 6-game winning streak.
Yeah, I will say this. It seems to me that Brady currently is playing good but not great. I think I honestly can't remember what the stats are or the ranking systems, but he's currently ranking between 7th and 11th in different categories, which, is like any team would take that really as your starting quarterback, but not what Brady's maybe used to. And it seems like that the games the Patriots have lost, so the Jags, the
Lions,
and the Titans, they've got behind early and not really been able to recover. And I think...
It may be because they're playing bad teams. Like... the Lions, you can say it's because of like Patricia and all that.
Well, I would say it's more to do with the
like
Patriots.
It's not like they're playing the Eagles where they're like, oh, this is a great team, let's come back, let's go. It's like, oh, this is the Titans, they're a walkover team, and then they're just like, oh.
Potentially.
See, I kind of see what you're saying, but I see it from the other point of view in that we're down. Why do I, in my greatness, have to come back in this game? Because I may as well save my energy for the playoffs when it matters.
Yeah.
They're 7-3. They're going to win their division. They're probably not going to get home field advantage this year. They probably know that now.
I think it's Greg Rosenthal who wrote the regular season has just become a 16-week warm-up for Brady for when it actually matters, which I kind of see. But I also think that Belichick and the New England coaching staff are incredible, and their game planning is probably second to none. And that, a lot of the games they win, yes, because of Brady, but also because they just make things easy for their offense. They make things easy for their defense because they scheme so well. Like putting Cordarrelle Patterson in at running back. That was just a great decision. And when they had to put Cordarrelle Patterson in at running back, what did they do? They put a fullback in front of him, which made it a bit easier for him to run. The thought of Cordarrelle Patterson running out of I formation probably didn't occur to a lot of people. But in these games, when their scheming hasn't worked, they haven't been able to make the adjustments to turn it around. Or well, maybe, like you said, they haven't wanted to make the adjustments to turn it around because maybe they're just storing these down as, yes, these are Patriots' weaknesses. When we come to the off-season, when people try and exploit them, we're going to have counter-punches. Yeah. Kind of a conspiratorial outlook, but...
Also, remember as well, Gronkowski didn't play, and then number one receiver was Gordon, who dropped 66% of the targets. The balls he catch are phenomenal, but when he catches them.
Yeah.
And I think maybe they're trying to thrust him into that role too soon. I mean, he's only really just got there.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's necessarily his talent. He's still adjusting to the scheme. And when was the last time he played a full season? You know, like it's not like he's just been traded.
Yeah.
You know, he's coming away from a couple of years of really down periods of his life. I think he could be phenomenal, but
they need to give him time.
They need to give him time. I think they know that too.
Could it also be that last week when they played the Packers, all their prep would have been towards Packers, and so whereas before they may have been looking ahead to the Packers. Yeah. So like for the couple of weeks before, they're like, okay, I know it's a couple of weeks away. Here's the Packers. Is some get this going in your head in the background.
They had one less day to prepare as well.
With the Titans, they're never going to be like, yeah, okay, here's a whole entire game plan like 3 weeks in advance, because they're like, it's the Titans. Like, it doesn't really matter if we lose this game.
Tennessee are one of those slippery teams, though, and at the same time, New England are culpable to lose at times.
Yeah,
and
they have their slip-ups.
They won't care. They won't care. They can still finish 12-4, second in the conference, and they'll be happy.
It's not the
with
end of the dynasty. No. What do we make of Dion Lewis's comments? Called the Patriots cheap, and said they got what they deserved. Dion Lewis obviously was with the Patriots last year, had a really good year. They didn't want him back based on how much. I think he got 11 million guaranteed, 4 years, 20 million contract with the Titans, and the Patriots didn't want to match it.
I think Dion Lewis has done exactly what every other former Patriot player does. He talks smack and then gets beat. And in the end, who's going to be sat on his couch in February watching the Super Bowl? Dion Lewis, who's probably going to be in the Super Bowl or was at least halfway there. Tom Brady, So in the end, it doesn't matter.
I really enjoyed Tom Brady's response to it, because he basically he talked for about 5 minutes, and it was just basically one massive shrug. He just said, other players have done this, blah, blah, blah. I think the emergence of James White probably meant that Dion Lewis was less needed. And, you know, he's having some success with Tennessee, fair play, but you don't really talk out against the Patriots, do you?
You should know as well, it's Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
He has no allegiance to anyone if he doesn't think that he can't maximize his potential with you.
Yeah.
He's shown that with Tom Brady. So he's going to show it with you, Dion Lewis.
Yeah, you're not exactly
Dion
TB12.
Lewis.
Yeah.
Oh.
Dion, who is you? Browns. I should have trusted my gut. Do you remember on Thursday? What did I say? We were doing our mark section, and I said, I want to talk about the Browns-Falcons, and then you said, why? And I said, I don't really know. I just had a feeling. I just knew. The mystic column in me was coming out. I knew something was going to happen. I just couldn't put it into words. And you know what? I buckled. I didn't stand up for myself. And I'm sad to say that. I'm really sad to say that.
You know, a broken clock is right twice a day. The Browns played well. The Falcons sucked. Yeah.
Matt Ryan rhymed with suck.
Yeah.
Have you seen that clip?
No.
He's on the sideline and he screams a swear word, which I'm not allowed to use on the air, but rhymes with suck. Yeah.
But the Browns played well. Baker Mayfield played
Nick
well.
Chubb
Nick Chubb played really well.
I think I was watching a video about Nick Chubb, like a film breakdown. I think he's going to be a really good player. My favourite part of the film breakdown, however, was talking about him, because he basically said Nick Chubb's weakness is kind of his role as a third down back. He's not a great pass blocker. He's not a great receiver out the backfield, yada, yada, yada. And then he basically said, but that doesn't matter because they've got Duke Johnson, which I 100% agree with. Duke Johnson is amazing. Baker Mayfield's stats when he's targeting Duke Johnson, I think he has something like 130 passer rating, which is really good. And then he said this: my nickname for the backfield is Chubby Johnson, which would have been my 80s porn star name. So from here on forth, I'll take you on that, Samuel Gold. If you haven't checked him out on YouTube, please do. Chubby Johnson, the Browns backfield, I think is currently top 5.
I think we're getting overexcited again.
So let's think through them. Saints number 1 or Rams number 1?
Rams.
I'd put the Saints above the Rams.
Saints.
Well, I mean, if you think about the dual
Kamara
threat
and Ingram
Saints,
over
dual
Gurley.
threat. Oh. I don't care about dual threat when I've got one guy getting to do it all.
Okay, so
He gets tired though.
we'll go for
I
Rams
put Saints
first.
above Rams.
So Rams Saints is the top 2.
Yeah.
Then Kansas with Kareem Hunt.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
No, we're not doing like running back rankings.
No,
We're doing
no,
like
total
complementary systems.
Yeah, I'd say Kareem Hunt. Have you seen
Okay,
what he does
McCaffrey's
like
up there then.
Yeah. Well, as an entire backfield. Yeah, Cam
Well,
and
McCaffrey is our entire backfield. He's
Yeah.
playing like 97% of our snaps. We've just released our alleged power back because we don't need him. Because, McCaffrey can run every single play and definitely isn't going to get injured. And then all our plans will come falling down. But anyway, I'm fine with it. Yeah, great move. Panthers
Seattle
front
have
office.
also had one of the best run
Yeah,
games of the whole
Seattle.
year.
I'll put Seattle above Kansas.
Well, yeah, okay, we're just going to do a vague one. Like, not actually.
The point is the Browns are playing
Okay,
well,
top 10.
but they're
Top
playing
10.
well
They're
for a
top
team
10.
that's won
Yeah.
3 games.
Yeah, but so many of those games they could have won.
They
They're
could have
still
done,
gonna
but
go
did they
9-7.
win?
If they didn't
No.
have Hugh Jackson, the Browns would be 6-3. At least.
I thought you said that the Browns wouldn't go 9-7 when I suggested that. At the
That's
start of the
because
year.
Hugh Jackson was their coach at the start
Oh,
of the year.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
Do
now
you
that
reckon
Hugh
they'll go
Jackson isn't their
9-7 there?
coach.
In
No.
fairness to Hugh
Well, look
Jackson,
at the
Hugh
offense
Jackson didn't
since-
miss all those field goals. Hugh Jackson didn't tell the refs to let the
They
Raiders
wouldn't have
win.
needed all those field goals if they didn't have Hugh Jackson.
Yeah, well, they should have made those field goals then.
Well, they should have sacked Hugh
And
Jackson.
if they, by the way,
years
had
ago.
made those field goals, Hugh Jackson would still be the head coach and Tyrod Taylor would still be the quarterback.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm
Amen.
kind of glad they're not 6-3.
Why? Because they still have Hugh Jackson.
They still have Hugh Jackson and Tyrod Taylor, and they've got a better choice of Greg Williams and Baker Mayfield.
Would you take Tyrod in Tampa?
I mean, no, because I don't think
You want someone
that
that
his
can do a deep
strength.
threat.
Exactly. I don't
for
think his
Deshaun
strength
Jackson.
helps.
He is a efficient quarterback, though.
We say this, but was he in Cleveland?
No, not at all.
I think Buffalo is his
Yeah.
peak. Maybe he'll find somewhere, and I think he deserves to. I think he
he's
deserves
a
another
top
chance
32 quarterback.
because I think, in fairness, he got put in a situation in Cleveland where he already had an expiry date,
Yeah.
so it's not fair on him.
Moving forward, we spoke about Cooper Kupp a little bit earlier.
Mhm.
I think that is a monumental loss to the Rams offense. Even Sean McVay seemed kind of upset. He talked about he can't call third and cut plays anymore, which I thought was actually quite poignant, a little bit sad. I hate to see a player go down with an AC injury. I particularly hate to see a rookie go down with, a young player, second year. I particularly hate when it's such an exciting player who's really got such good chemistry with his quarterback and is becoming such an important part of that offense. And then you add to that he was a third-round pick, not first-round pick, and probably was the best receiver out of a class that included 3 first-rounders. It's just really sad.
Who are the other 3?
John Ross, Corey Davis, and Mike Williams.
Yeah,
Corey
fine.
Davis is having a really good year
Yeah,
with
he
Tennessee. Well, a couple of really good games. But John Ross and Mike Williams haven't exactly lived up to expectations.
John
Mike
Ross
Williams
didn't
hasn't
play
been
badly
bad.
this week.
No, but it was only really a touchdown, wasn't it? John
Yeah.
Ross is just speedy.
The Rams will
Anyway.
be fine.
Yeah, the
They
Rams
will be because
fine.
they've got Cooks and Wood.
And Gurley.
Yeah.
And Josh Reynolds will come back in
Yeah.
like he did a couple of weeks ago. Was he covering for Cup again, wasn't he?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he didn't really have. He had like 4 catches for 86 yards across those 2 weeks, which isn't amazing.
No, but it could be enough.
Yeah, I suppose when you've got Cooks and Wood, is it Woods and Cook or
It's Cooks,
Cooks
and
and
Wood.
Woods. Robert Woods. Both Woods.
Both Woods.
they're both
Both S.
both
Both S, yeah.
both plurals. I'm glad we
Woods.
solved that one. Yeah, they will be fine, but it's just sad. Sorry,
It is,
Cooper.
yeah.
Yeah.
We feel for you, man.
It's a shame as well because this could be their year.
Yeah,
It's like Carson Wentz.
I-
He'll never win a
yeah.
Super Bowl.
He'll still get the ring though.
I know,
He'll
but
get
it's
the
not-
ring, but
it's
he
the
won't.
same,
Yeah.
isn't
No,
it?
it's a bit like it must be really hard for Carson Wentz, who's got that ring, and he's just like,
and it says Foles
Yeah.
on it as well.
Yeah, exactly. Because when he
does
retires,
it actually say Foles on
Yeah,
it?
because they put the Super Bowl MVP on it.
Oh
Yeah,
no, that's so
when he
bad.
retires with his one ring,
It's not
it'll
really
be
his
because
ring.
Nick Foles won it
Yeah.
for him.
There's always an asterisk on it.
Oh, that'd be so sad.
Hopefully,
'cause
Cooper Kupp will get another chance.
Carson Wentz will never win a Super Bowl.
Wow. You are why. And on that bombshell,
Yeah.
on
Good
to the
night.
next segment. I've written the Saints down, but to be honest, like I think all we need to say is, damn, like they're smooth. I don't even think we need to talk about them. Like,
Not bad for a guy that can only play in a dome. He went to one of the coldest, most northern cities in the league.
I thought you were like targeting that at me, and I was
No, no.
like really racking through my
Yeah.
brain to be like, when did
No,
I say that?
no,
Why
no,
can-
no.
how can I
I'm just
argue?
saying. I mean, he isn't good at playing outside of a dome, so
I
he
won't
went to
hear
literally
it.
the worst conditions he could play.
Right, we've got 10 minutes left. I'm going to do this. your MVP. Look, we can do this whole MVP candidates.
I'm
blah,
still
blah, blah.
holding this dog.
Yeah, nice. Make sure you check our Twitter after the show to see the picture. We can do the whole like I'm obvious. If I had a vote, I'd vote for Cam. Obvious. I think Cam is playing at an MVP level, but let's be realistic. It's going to, at this stage of the season at least, if it carries on like it's going to come down to one of two players. That's Patrick Mahomes and Drew
Quentin
Brees.
Nelson.
It's just not fair to put Nelson in this discussion because we know he's going to win it, so we have to make it a bit interesting at least. But yeah, big up Quentin Nelson. Who you got? Patrick Mahomes, Drew Brees.
Drew Brees, and it's not even close. I understand Patrick Mahomes is playing lights out and he's young and he's exciting and he's different, but for every record that he's broken this year, Brees has broken 2 or 3.
Yeah,
and he's just done it again. He passes far with the second most passes. He's now leads the history of the league in
passing
yards and he's on 77% completion. 77% completion. 21-1 touchdown to interception ratio.
Ever done that in a game?
No.
Nathan Peterman probably
He's never done that in a drive.
Or a throw.
Yeah.
Even when Nathan Peterman completes a pass, it's still 70% completion.
Isn't that crazy? He's thrown 21 touchdowns and 1 pick.
That's just like...
And that 1 pick, by the way, was Harrison Smith, one of the best safeties in the league.
And you can talk about how the Saints defense have maybe started playing better, but I can tell you factually, it's a lot easier to play defense if your quarterback isn't giving up the ball.
Exactly.
See the Jaguars, see the not the Panthers this year, but the Panthers maybe in years past. The real thing that wins you games is the turnover differential and just general field position. That's why the Panthers made it to the Super Bowl in 2015. That's why the Eagles were so good last year, or part of the reason. And that's the reason why normally you frame it kind of from a defensive point of view and you say, oh, look at all the turnovers the defense are getting, and that's putting you in great field position. Actually, with the Saints this year, it's just Drew Brees is not giving the ball away. And when the Saints drive, it's just going to end in points. Factually, it just will. How many 3-and-outs have the Saints had this year? Probably very little, because even when they get to 4th down, they dial up some kind of trick play and, hey, look, here's another 1st down. Drew Brees has been absolutely manoeuvring the Saints ship this year. I've completely changed my opinion on him. Not that I thought he was bad, I just didn't think he was great. I didn't think he was in the same discussion as maybe Brady and Rodgers. Now, I think he's above them. Drew Brees is my favourite quarterback of all time. Not favourite. Drew Brees is the best quarterback of all time.
His favourite.
Cam Newton is my favourite.
We have to take it as
maybe
his
not all
favourite.
time,
The first
okay.
thing he said.
Yeah, I'm going to take it on his first thing.
I'll asterisk that.
No,
He's the
his
best.
favourite.
He's the best quarterback of the last 20 years. I won't get into the whole 2018. I won't get into the whole Montana, Young, Marino. I don't know enough about those players to be able to have an informed discussion about them.
I'm sure a lot of it is just sort of.
But if it comes down to
nostalgia
Brady,
glasses,
Rodgers, Brees is the best out of those 3.
Yeah.
I don't think. I know you don't agree with me. I think that's true.
I don't know. I mean,
who would you take?
Right now, I'd take Drew Brees.
Who would you? Yeah. But who would you?
But if I'm talking pure talent, Aaron Rodgers.
No, but if you're talking if their careers all ended tomorrow, who's the best out of those 3? Who, if you could bring one of them back for one more season with a completely neutral NFL team, who would you have?
Aaron Rodgers, because he is the most gifted football player of all time.
No, I'm not having it. I'm all about Drew Brees.
I'm sorry. I don't get me wrong. I love Drew Brees, and I think he is this year playing better than both of them. I think this year he's the MVP.
Yep.
He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, and I think he's a top 10 all time. And there's no shame in only being in the top 10.
No, that's quite an achievement in itself.
Yeah, there's an awful lot of players in the NFL at the moment. So even being in the top 10 of players at the moment is pretty impressive.
So, but
I'm all
he is playing exceptionally well.
Do you know how much it hurts me to say this? I hate the Saints. I quite like the Bucks because they're not very good. So
we help you.
Yeah,
we
they're kind of like the
up.
little pet in the corner that I just touch on the head every now and then.
Yeah.
I hate the Saints and I hate the Falcons. I'm so passionate about the Panthers. I really detest those teams. Nothing made me happier than seeing Matt Ryan have a temper tantrum on the sideline. Which, by the way, if Cam Newton did, the media would be all over about how his leadership is awful and blah, 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 blah. But, that's beside the point, black quarterback bias and all that.
Don't even start with that. That is ridiculous.
I will not stand for racism.
That is ridiculous.
But what I will say is, as much as I hate the Saints, I can't help but love Drew Brees. As much as I hate Kamara and Ingram, I can't help but love the
Because
Saints
Drew Brees
offense.
is amazing, and he's playing better.
And he's playing
than
at MVP
anyone in
level.
the league
Mark,
right now.
I saw when I asked the question, Max started talking, your eyebrows went up.
Yeah.
I can see your fantasy-centered mind ticking and thinking, most points.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like,
Which is ironic because who's leading our fantasy league?
Yeah, you.
This guy who beat you last week.
You.
Who's got the most points overall?
You.
Who's just smashing life?
You.
Thank you.
Wait up. Oops. Well, yeah, like I think the reason why I would probably still go with Drew Brees is because I don't know whether we've seen Patrick Mahomes' ceiling yet. Like, whereas with Drew Brees, I feel that he may play this well in future years, maybe like a couple more, maybe a load more like Brady, but I don't think he's going to take another step up and we're going to be like, oh, he's even better. Whereas Patrick Mahomes is very exciting and has... I find Patrick Mahomes is more like clutch. Like he'll be like running out the pocket with like 5,000 people on him and just do like a lefty push pass to get a score, or he'll like be like diving and do some weird throw that somehow makes it to the end zone into Travis Kelce's hands, and it's a lot more exciting to watch.
Yeah,
I think so. If it was purely based on like when watching a game, who's going to make you like
it's an entertainment industry.
Yeah, who's
I get that.
Going to sit at the edge of the seat and be like, oh, what's he going to do now? But I think Drew Brees has played better and more consistently, and
I think it's a super interesting like dichotomy to draw up, because on the one hand you've got Mahomes, who is pure excitement, amazing arm strength. It's all in his arm, really mobile, young, raw, just pure energy. On the other hand, you have Drew Brees, who, you know, his arm strength isn't his strength as a player. It's his accuracy, his age, his experience, his kind of coolness. It's like fire and ice almost.
You feel like he's the dad of the football team as well as an actual dad. Like you can just imagine him being there with like Kamara.
Have you seen the video? I don't know if you saw it. Him playing with his kids on his bye week, and he had loads of kind of small squidgy footballs, and they were just all, it was like, have you ever played round the world with table tennis? Yeah, they were all just kind of running up and he was throwing the ball to them and like commentating over the top. So he was like, blah blah goes up for the catch, he makes it, and she goes up for the catch, she makes it, and his mum, the mum is like filming in the background as well. Sweet. He's a nice dad.
I think the big thing though, to round it off, is that it depends what you mean by MVP. Because MVP typically becomes best player, and if we're going best player, it could go to Mahomes. But if we're talking about someone who is purely
valuable, I think. But even beyond that, I think as good as Drew Brees is, I think there are other players who are more valuable to their team. Which is, I think, it's just a stupid name for the award, because as much as it like is entrenched in American sports culture, it's not about who's most valuable anymore, or it wouldn't have probably have gone to Brady last year. It would have gone to Russell Wilson based on, you know, his incredible offensive output and what the Seahawks team would have been without him. But like you said, beside the point, it's an entertainment industry. We'll see who wins. Give me your name quickly. Who's going to win?
Who's
MVP?
Going to win MVP this year?
Not what you think. Not what you personally think. What you think will actually happen.
Drew Brees.
Brees.
I think Mahomes will win it. I don't want him to win it, but I think he will.
So I was racking through.
Make sure you tune in for our...
and as good as Todd Gurley is, I don't reckon they'll give it to him this year.
Yeah, not this year. That's all we've got time for this week. Thank you all very much for listening. We'll be back on Thursday at 9 a.m. for our preview show. It's going to be a good one. Make sure you tune in. Follow us on Twitter at NFLementary. Thank you all very much for listening. Goodbye.